I want to talk to you about fighting Groundhog Day syndrome. It is a real thing. If every day is bleeding into the next day and you often wonder, what the hell day is it? What time is it? Where the hell am I? Welcome to life. First of all, if life feels like Groundhog Day, it's the same thing every single day. Number one, accept it. Accept that that is a phenomenon, and accept that this is something that you are susceptible to unless you do two very important things. Bill Murray in Groundhog Day has a very good quote for us to pay attention to right now. You want to know what it is? Anybody know what it is? Here it is. Anything different is good. Anything different is good. And there are two things that you need to focus on making different in this moment of time. You ready? Number one, you got to do a time shift. And number two, you got to do a mind shift. If you feel like every day is Groundhog Day, in order to stop your days from drifting into each other and becoming one giant blob, you need to do two shifts. You need to shift time and you need to shift your mind. A lot of us have challenges with executive functioning, the ability to direct ourselves. We know what to do, but we can't quite get ourselves organized. In times of stress, what's very interesting based on the research is that most of us feel not that our executive functioning snaps in and tells us what to do. We become an executive with dysfunction. It's executive dysfunction when you're stressed. So if you wonder why, normally you have a great morning routine. You jump out of bed, you get to the gym, you eat a healthy breakfast. But right now, coronavirus Groundhog Day right now, you wake up and you don't feel your mind go, oh, time to get up. You feel your mind go, you don't have to commute, so you could roll back and sleep another 45 minutes. You don't have to put your underwear and your pants on. The Zoom's only going to show you from your waist up. When your executive dysfunction in your mind starts to coach you in ways that aren't that great, that's when you got to snap out of it, because honestly, that's contributing to the Groundhog Day phenomenon. The other thing that's contributing to Groundhog Day phenomenon, by the way, is I think that we have all completely underestimated how our normal routine of leaving where you live and seeing other people, whether it's going to the gym or dropping kids off at school or commuting to an office or running to the grocery store or going to that dog park, being able to leave and go somewhere else and see other people, it breaks up time and it marks time in a way. And right now, none of us are leaving and we can't go anywhere. And so you are in the same place all day, which is also contributing to this executive dysfunction in your head where your days and hours and minutes are blending together. And so what's one to do? Well, let's talk about the two shifts you need to do. The first one is you've got to shift your relationship to time. Okay, this is super important because given the changes with the coronavirus, every day is going to feel like Groundhog Day unless you shift your relationship to time. How do you do that? Well, first things first, you've heard me say this since the beginning of Stay Connected with Mel Robbins. A lack of predictability makes you feel unsafe. A lack of a routine makes you feel like you're in Groundhog Day. And so we need to go back to the basics. I'm talking to myself. I know you think I'm talking to you. I'm actually giving myself a pep talk right now because I need to hear this. I blew off the routine this weekend and the wheels came off emotionally and mentally because I had nothing grounding and anchoring me. I was drifting like a boat that's unmoored, okay, off into rough seas. And I don't want you to do that. So let's go back to the basics. We have to have a routine right now. We have to. Every day fighting to stay grounded and fighting to be kind to yourself and fighting to have the emotional resilience, which is the ability to cope with this once in a lifetime first of its kind experience that we're all having. None of us have done this before. And so you got to have a routine. You got to wake up. You got to get your ass out of bed, and you have to get dressed. Now, another thing that I really want you to do, I want you, please, to exercise. I know it's the devil word, exercise. I'm going to say it again. Please, just spend 10, 15, 20 minutes. Please move your body.
Nothing's happened in like 50, 60 years, 100 years. So people start thinking shit doesn't happen. Yo, crazy shit happens all the time. We've just had a long stretch of some smooth sailing. But every 100 years, every 60, 70 years, there's definitely going to be some major disruption some way, shape, or form. So what I'm going to do is I want to lead by example. Like, it's so easy to tell people to push themselves when you're not pushing yourself. But I want to be able to say, yo, push yourself. And I can say that because I'm pushing myself. So I've been writing, and now we're making music, and we got the cameras. So I'm also going to do a podcast. You know, I think Raquel and I are going to do like a couples podcast because we're in the house together, right? A lot of what people are going to do at home, if they figure out how to do things from home, after this is over, you can continue to do things from home. It might change the whole course of your life. So you got to look at this as a way to improve yourself, because that's the only way I can see it. I'm like, yo, I got to get better. And I say it every day, and I'm going to keep saying it. You know what I mean? But I got to keep being productive. It's very important to me to be productive. So are you challenging yourself? You know, that's the question, really. And what are you challenging yourself on? You know? So I'm also going to try to shoot a movie in here, I think. You know, something, maybe a scary movie or something. I got the cameras, I got the lights. So I'm going to try to do something. But either way, I'm going to do something. You know, all day long, I'm doing something. I'm not going to waste a second. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody should. So the reason why I'm telling everybody is because I think people should share the plug. I'm not going to hide the plug. You know, if I could do something to make my life better, you know, I'm going to showcase and tell everybody else to do something to make their life better. You know what I'm saying? And every person that I talk to, the conversation is basically the same. How are we going to capitalize and come out of this situation better? You know, and some people I talk to that are very traditional, they are really concerned. They're really scared about the future. They're very worried about their present. And I'm like, yo, bro, right now, I don't understand why anybody's really so worried about what everyone else. Like, if you got to pay a bill, everybody's up right now. Can't nobody work. So, you know, right now it's really not about, you know, worrying about what bills got to get paid today. It's about how the you're going to pay your bills in four months when, you know, you're used to being around people and that's the way you make your money, and you can no longer do that, you know? And that shouldn't be a problem. It's like, damn, it's a good thing. Now I don't have to be around people all day.
Emotional contagion can be almost as detrimental as a pathogen. You know, and if you look at yourself as a leader in your family, in your community of friends, if you run a company, if you're a part of any kind of organization and you say, hey, I want to be a beacon of both reality, because this is a very serious situation, and I also want to keep our eyes on hope, on possibility, and on staying healthy and strong, because that's what we need to do for each other right now. So I think that understanding the power of emotional contagion and how real that is, and then taking a rooted stand for yourself, not that you're denying anything, not that you're putting your head in the sand, and this isn't about being a Pollyanna, it's actually about being highly intelligent, and it is about leadership. So the other question of the tiramisu layer that you were asking is, you know, a lot of people are asking around this time, okay, so what can I do? And I want to present, if it's okay, Katrina, both sides of a conversation. You know, some folks listening right now may, like you have, Bella. I know so many women, so many moms who, my goodness, God bless you. You are like hanging on because you got kids running around that aren't usually running around. You have spouses home, you have your full-time job, or you're trying to find a job, and there's a lot happening. And I would say for anyone who feels like, oh my goodness, Calgon, take me away, right? The way for you to be as creative as possible right now is actually extreme self-care. Focusing on the fundamentals of sleep, not putting any pressure on yourself to write no great American novel or start knitting or have your own vegetable garden. It's like, oh, hell no. No, right? Like you need to have some water. You need to keep moving with Katrina, which, by the way, yesterday, my love, you texted me as I was working out with you in the Tone It Up app. Like you were literally helping me with my workout. And I was like, isn't this fun? So again, for anyone listening right now, if you're like, there ain't no space to be creative, like I just need to retain my sanity, I say yes. Let yourself sleep more. Find that great novel that, you know, is not going to help you learn anything and just going to allow you a moment of rest and laughter or creativity or sci-fi or whatever kind of floats your boat. So that's for that population, because I think that all of us are experiencing this in different ways, and we want to be sensitive and compassionate to that. Now, for some other folks who may find themselves like, oh my goodness, there is an opportunity here to do things that perhaps I hadn't had time to do before because of the world moving at the pace that we normally move. Katrina, I would offer everyone 2 great journal prompts that I've been playing with that I have found to be so helpful. Not only are they prompts because they tap into your internal wisdom, but they become these incredible conversation starters for when you're doing your FaceTimes with your friends, or you're hanging out with your spouse, or with anyone in a safe social distancing kind of way, and you want to have richer conversations besides, you know, what's happening with the pandemic right now. So question number 1 is, what lessons do I not want to forget from this time? So I'll say it one more time. What are the lessons that you don't want to forget from this time? So context for this one, whenever I'm having a tough moment in my business or life, like whenever life is just, I got kicked in the stomach, I am down on my knees, I'm doing the ugly cry, I'm like, holy shit, how did I get here? Those are often the times when things are challenging that my greatest lessons and wisdom have emerged. And the way that I've captured it is I write it down. I'm like, when things return to normalcy, I do not want to forget this. Like, I don't want to forget this lesson. And so those could be challenging lessons, but they also could be great insights. So one of mine for me is, I didn't realize, Katrina, how much earthly static in terms of all the things that I could do, want to do, places I could go, people I could hang out with. I had no idea how much all of that static was existing in my mental capacity that was at this low hum. Do you know how if you're in a room that has air conditioner on and you're like, oh, it's quiet, but there's air conditioner, and then once you turn the air conditioner off, there's pure silence? And you're like,
you're like, whoa, that was there that whole time.
So that's kind of like something I'm experiencing for myself. So that's a lesson I don't want to forget, is how often I plug into all of this static that's around, and that I have the ability to consciously unplug for that. Second question that people may want to journal on, and this is a really good one. How can I make this obstacle, whatever the obstacle is, the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? How can I make this obstacle, whatever, if it's like, I don't have the ingredients I need, my car is broken down, something's happening in my world, like there is some obstacle that you're just like, how can I make this the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? Why is this a good question? So our brains are wired to answer questions. They don't like open loops, right? And depending on the quality of the question that you feed your brain, that depends on the quality of the answer you're going to get back. So a question like, how can I make this obstacle the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, trains your brain to think creatively about whatever's in front of you and challenges you to dig deep to find a frame to move yourself positively ahead.
I will end this with a toast. And that toast is... That toast is to you guys. Is to you guys, everybody around the world. And the toast is to staying strong, to staying patient, to staying disciplined, staying vigilant, to holding on to that fundamental quality of faith, not in a religious sense, but in a sense that things will get better, and they will. They will get better. And cheers to resilience. All right, love you guys. That's good.
If you want more advice, wisdom, guidance from other successful entrepreneurs on how you can navigate the coronavirus situation, check out the video right there next to me. I hope you find it valuable. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The reason for it is because if you can figure out how to make money right now,